Hello and welcome to What Culture Horror with myself, Andrew Pollard. I hope you're good. I hope you're well. I hope you've had the best weekend possible and that your week is off to a good, solid start. I apologise now if my voice is a little bit raspy. That will be a result of Wrexham's stunning 3-0 win at the weekend over Exeter. Go on, the sound. Right, let's get up to speed on the past few days of horror news. And let's start things off with some new Scream 7 casting news. Yes, it is a running joke about how much Scream is featured on this channel, and I will always do my best to avoid Scream where possible, but when it's casting news and it's Scream 7 and it's significant casting news, yeah, going to get bang on that. Now, Deadline was the first to report that Isabel May has been cast as Sidney Prescott's daughter in Scream 7. Now, Isabel May is someone best known for her work in Electra and Katie in 1883, and then following that up with 1923. Now, Scream 7 is, I guess the best way to put it is refocusing the franchise back onto Sidney Prescott. Neve Campbell, of course, totally absent from Scream 6 due to a pay dispute with Spyglass. The Scream 7 we have on the table right now is obviously very different to what was originally planned, say, when Scream 6 was all said and done. Melissa Barrera was fired from Scream 7. Jenna Ortega subsequently decided against returning for the film. And director Christopher Landon also departed the film at the turn of the year, of course. So that removes the Carpenter sisters from the story. I mean, you could, I don't know, kill them off screen, which would be absolutely daft and ridiculous. But horror movies have done that sort of stuff before. But Sidney Prescott is now back front and center. In terms of Sidney's family unit, though, there were a couple of lines in the 2022 Scream that revealed that Sid ended up marrying Detective Kincaid, who was obviously last seen in Scream 3, and the pair have some children. It's not outright stated how many children, but the general belief is that Sid and Kincaid have 3 children, 2 daughters and a son. Sidney, there's a line in there about taking the girls to school while she's also got a buggy with her as well. But yeah, either way, one of those children have been cast, and that's the 24-year-old Isabel May. One has to presume that these children will follow in their parents' footsteps in terms of, yeah, you're going to be getting targeted by Ghostface, a Ghostface or 2, or 3, or 4, who knows, all bets are off. Hey, maybe one of the kids is a Ghostface, which would be extremely odd, but when has that ever stopped Hollywood from making those odd decisions? Plus, Sidney has her fair share of maniacs in the family. There's half-brother Rowan Bridger, cousin Jill. Yeah, but at the moment, Scream 7 is looking at a February 2026 release with Kevin Williamson directing. Now, Williamson has long been involved with the franchise, of course, writing the first 2 movies and Scream 4, and been involved in pretty much, yeah, every other film as some sort of producer, whether that's executive producer or just an outright producer. So as for the cast, right now it is just Neve Campbell and Isabel May signed on. Courtney Cox is expected to return as Gale Weathers, but the deal hasn't been agreed as of yet. So it's one of those where until it's signed, it's not signed. Likewise, Patrick Dempsey, McDreamy, has talked up how he'd be open to returning as Kincaid if the story is right. So obviously then you've got question marks around there's Jasmine Savoy Brown and Mason Goodin, who played Mindy Meeks Martin and Chad Meeks Martin in the past 2 movies. Will they be involved? Because if we're veering the story away from the Carpenter sisters, obviously they're best pals, they're good pals. So yeah, it's one to keep an eye on anyway, but we do have at least a little bit of casting news now for Scream 7. In other news, Variety reports that Dee Wallace and Ed Begley Jr. are the latest names to join The Boroughs, which is the upcoming supernatural mystery series from the Duffer Brothers for Netflix. Of course, Matt and Ross Duffer are the minds behind Stranger Things, which has clearly, obviously, been a huge success for Netflix. They'll be executive producing here on The Boroughs, with Jeffrey Addis and Will Matthews serving as showrunners and the creators of the series. Now, Dee Wallace, obviously, clearly a major favourite of so many horror fans. Just, you look through her credits, you've got The Hills of Eyes, The Howling, Cujo, Popcorn. I love Popcorn. Alligator 2, well underrated. The Frighteners. 3 Rob Zombie films. There was, Rob Zombie's Halloween, the Lords of Salem, 3 from Hell. But don't hold that against her. There's the House of the Devil, and of course, there is Critters. The point being, Dee Wallace is someone synonymous with horror. Speaking of Critters as well, it's worth noting that Arrow have a fantastic new Critters box set that's coming out on the 2nd of December. I've been having a lot of fun in that, getting an early sneak peek over the past few days. But anyway, Dee Wallace, Ed Begley Jr. During a Boroughs cast, there's some pretty heavy hitters in here. You've got Alfred Molina, Alfred Woodard, Gina Davis, Dennis O'Hare, and Bill Pullman, just as a few names there. As for the plot, there's a really brief synopsis, and it kind of sounds a little bit like Cocoon meets Stranger Things, with a smidge of Bubba Hotep in there, because I'll always get a Bubba Hotep mentioning whenever I can. What a film, Don Coscarelli. The synopsis here is: in a seemingly picturesque retirement community in the New Mexico desert, a group of unlikely heroes must band together to stop an otherworldly threat from stealing the one thing they don't have: time. And sticking with the Netflix theme, we finally have a first look at Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein. Now, this feels like it's been in the making for forever. I mean, Del Toro, talking as far back as 2008, maybe 2007, maybe 2006, about what he'd love to do with Frankenstein. And now that is all finally happening, as Vanity Fair have got their hands on a first look photo of the set. More specifically, the set in question is Victor Frankenstein's lab, and it just looks delightful, man. There's the lighting of the picture. There's just a big window there with the color scheme, the items dotted around the lab. But we also get to see a glimpse at what appears to be Victor Frankenstein and his monster. Now, as for Victor Frankenstein, he's played by Golden Globe winner Oscar Isaac, while Euphoria's Jacob Elordi is playing the monster. The cast, it's fleshed out again. Some pretty big names here too, man. There's Mia Goth, there's Christoph Waltz, Lars Mikkelsen, David Bradley, the great David Bradley, Charles Dance, and what's said to be a pivotal cameo role for Ralph Ineson. Now, Del Toro's Frankenstein has not got a set release date as of yet, but the plan is for it to arrive on Netflix at some point next year. But don't worry, there is also a plan for it to receive a theatrical run. So you'll be able to go to the cinema to check this one out, which sounds like an absolute blast. Guillermo del Toro, Frankenstein, big screen. Sign me up. Now, in one final news tidbit today, IllFonic and TerraVision's killer Klowns from Outerspace video game is getting some new characters. Yes, not just any random new characters. This is news that put a big smile on my face. Just as a general Killer Klowns nerd for the film, let alone the video game as well. But yeah, these characters are going to be based on the original Clowns concept art of the legendary Kyoto brothers, the geniuses behind the brilliant 1988 Killer Klowns movie. The first of these clowns being added to the game is Oki, the older brother of Shorty. He describes himself as the deadliest clown in the galaxy. The concept art for Oki just looks absolutely phenomenal in terms of just the character design there. But then, this is the Kyoto brothers, so of course it was always going to look great. It's not been revealed though exactly when Oki will be joining the action. Simply a case of coming soon. So hey, that coming soon could be today, it could be the weekend, it could be the turn of next month, which is, only a matter of days away anyway. And there's no details just yet on what other new clowns are on the way. But it's just good to see some new content being brought to a game that is just a lot of fun, man. Granted, there have been a few mild issues lately. Seriously, when can I get my slappy skin back? But hopefully the next update can tidy up a few of those rough edges, should we say. But either way, there's still something just so satisfying about disguising yourself as a pizza box, only to sneak up on some poor, unsuspecting human and smashing them up with a mace. Or, on the other hand, there's also something very satisfying about running around as Elvira and stabby-ing clowns. Just, yeah, a whole lot of fun, that game, man. And with that, that brings today's news video to a close. Be sure to let us know in the comments what horror delights have been keeping you entertained lately, or what you have planned for this coming week. This has been What Culture Horror. I've been Andrew Pollard, and I will catch you later in the week.